Welcome to the Legacy Through Land podcast, where we're dedicated to empowering you on your journey to land ownership and management. I'm Tyler Markham, your host, and each week we'll dive deep into the world of land investing, management strategies, and the transformative experiences tied to owning your very own piece of dream dirt. With our expert guests, inspiring stories, and actionable advice, we're committed to helping you become a better land manager, hone your investing skills, and start building your family's legacy through land. Now, let's dive into this week's episode. We hope you'll enjoy. Well. Another episode, another day, and I would not say another dollar. We definitely don't make any money with these podcasts, but boy, has it been fun for me. Really, truly, I mean this. If you've been listening, I appreciate it. I really do. I am fumbling my way through this. I have no clue what I'm doing. People that reach out and say I'm doing a great job, hey, that means a lot. I appreciate it. I don't fully know what God's going to do with this yet, but I'm just continuing to be actionable and bring guests on. And I'll be honest, every week when I bring on a guest and I hear these impactful stories and these compelling try, fail, adjust success stories and how much land means to them, it's really fulfilling to me. It's really like food to my soul. And I hope for you as a listener, it is as well. This week is going to be no different. I love that when I get to do these podcasts and interview people that I don't really know that well, but I know from a public spectrum or the name, or, I just know the surface level. It's incredibly beneficial to me to get to hear the backstory. And this week, Painted Arrow is a product that you guys all well know. I will say that without a doubt, they have bridged the gap between being able to film your hunt with the type of gear that I typically use and not filming your hunt at all. They have massively bridged that gap with their very famous mag phone mount. And now they've got other products as well. But you're going to get to hear the story, the inside story of who Nate Hicks and his best friend and business partner, Devin, are. Devin could not be with us. We're going to have to bring Devin on for another one, but I really cannot say enough about how much of a try-fail success journey this is to get to what we all know today. God is just good, and it's been an awesome episode to record, so I'm going to jump right into that one. The only thing I'll say before about us is we're just trying to end the year strong. We're trying to end the year strong. Right now it is December 18th. And I'm in that mental struggle of, hey, you've got to stay focused and end the year strong and wrap up stuff. But also we're all excited to get into the holiday season and spend time with family and really go out and create legacy like we know we want to be doing. So not a ton of major updates over here. We have some really, really good farms that are about to hit the market. But if you're interested or you're looking for a piece of land, I've got some pieces that are going to be very, very unique. And I will not say that forever, I promise. But these are really, really going to be some unique properties that we're putting out. Some of them we would sell as is. So if you're interested in something where you want to do the elbow work yourself, let me know. Look us up, legacyacresland.com. But let's jump right into this episode. Nate Hicks, Painted Arrow. You guys will enjoy this one. All right, happening listeners, I don't know what episode it is. It's just definitely an episode. So welcome to the Legacy Through Land podcast. And thank you today, Mr. Nate, for being on here with us.
I appreciate it. I'm excited.
I am excited as well. My guests know if I'm not excited, the guest is probably not going to be on there. And we've talked offline. I couldn't hit record fast enough that we are definitely going to be cut from the same cloth, it feels like. And I am really, really, really eager to get into his story and his partner Devin's story, kind of how their worlds have merged and meshed, and business and faith and deer and Painted Arrow. So if we just jump right in, Nate, take us back to way before Painted Arrow was what we all know it as today, as this great product company, great marketing, a very, very useful device. Have one on my own bow. Love it. I got a funny story for you about how I made it adapt for me in Illinois. Way back before that was that. What was Painted Arrow in the beginning? And if you've got it in you, take us back to young Nate Hicks. How in the world do we get to today?
Yeah, no, I'll probably start actually with, I guess, how I got into hunting, because it kind of ties into all this. Kind of before we hit record, like you were saying, my grandfather, and I'm from southern Michigan, and he had an apple orchard, like a 30-acre apple orchard. And like that was the place for me. Like when I grew up, I was just like captivated with and loved it. And, you know, he had a garden and there was like swings on the trees, like big oak trees, just like a place of nostalgia for me in a big way. Like the guy next door had a bunch of cows, the smell of manure. Like I still love the smell of manure because of how I was raised going over there. And it was like this place for me. And so it's important to start there because that kind of really ties into where Painted Arrow started, because I think a lot of guys and gals, as I've gotten into the industry, like, you know, people want to work in the outdoor space. They want to work around hunting. They want to work around land because they think it's, you know, they think it's like not working really. When, you know, you've heard the saying, if you pick a job that is not really work, right? If you pick the right job, you're doing the thing you love, it's purpose driven, you're not working. So all that being said, like I was graduating college. I did an internship with the Montana Fish and Wildlife and went out to Montana for a summer and fell in love with the country. And, you know, like I just knew from like the beginning that I wanted to do something in the outdoor space, wanted to do something. And I was a big follower of Steven Rinella. I really, really thought he was a charismatic guy. Like I thought, like he would always say things, like speak them in a way that I would think. Like I was never able to like put my thoughts into words as well as like every time I listened to him, I was like, man, this guy is like, he's speaking what I'm thinking all the time. And so like, I remember thinking like, I'm going to start a podcast because, you know, I might have some people that would listen that might be, you know, interested in the things that I'm doing, right? Like young Nate Hicks, that's really truly where my mindset was. Like if I can start a side hustle and interview people that are like-minded, it would be very fun for me. It would be, you know, something that I'm not necessarily looking to have an income from, but I'm working for corporate America, you know, graduating out of college, and I have like a general business management degree with a minor in entrepreneurship. And so I kind of always knew like I might do my own thing someday. But I was working for corporate America and I started a Painted Arrow podcast, and that was like my outlet, if you will. And I mean, it's funny because like, if I look back on that time, like I was interviewing anybody interested to just have a conversation. Like I interviewed a butterfly expert once. I interviewed a guy.
I like it.
It was super interesting to me. So I'm like, why not? You know. And
what time frame would this have been, Nate? I didn't mean to interrupt you. What time frame would have been the origination? Yeah,
I'm thinking like 2018.
That's what I was going to say, and kind of frame this for us. To me, I got to think like I didn't get super serious into listening to podcasts until probably like, I don't know, 2020, 21, maybe even. So it's 2018 kind of the, would it have been sort of the explosion of podcasts? Like I feel like that platform was pretty quiet, weird pun intended, pretty quiet, you know, until a time frame. Was that about when it like came to you?
Yeah, it definitely was. And that's when I first, like I said, the Meat Eater podcast, I would listen to it all the time. I was a traveling account manager. So like I was in the truck a lot, and you know, like I would listen to dozens and dozens. I've cut down quite a bit because I'm very much, you know, I'm busy now, but like that, I used to listen to hours and hours of different podcasts, and they all ended up being, you know, revolved around the outdoors in some way, but business too. Like I've always really enjoyed business, but for sure it definitely was that explosion of media. And I feel very lucky because I think a lot of people, I don't know if they sit back and really think about it, but like we're lucky to have all that like information right at our fingertips.
We are the most informed, educated, at your fingertips generation there ever was. Now, and I'll say Gen Z is even more so. Gen Z is even more so. Yeah. Don't get me started on if they're doing well with it, but they are even more so. I cannot agree with you more. You ever listen to Don Higgins? Don, I'll never forget him saying years ago, like this is the best time to start a business there ever was in the history of America. Like this is the best time to do something. We have the most information. You have the most data at your fingertips. You have the least risk. You have the most runway. Like all these things. And I stepped back and thought, yeah, I think that's actually right. Like, I think I actually agree with that.
For sure. So
2018, you start the podcast. I derailed you, which I'm very guilty of.
You're fine.
You're interviewing just about anyone and everyone. You said you interviewed a butterfly expert.
Yeah, I mean, anybody. I interviewed one guy from Boca Raton who was a specific turtle species expert, like a dog sledding company, obviously lots of hunting related things. And just, at that time, so I mentioned I worked for the Montana Fish and Wildlife. That was kind of like a dream of mine. Like I applied to hundreds of different like wildlife type based internships, just trying to get my foot in the door. And most people didn't want a business degree, gentlemen. Like they wanted a guy or gal who had like that specialty for fisheries or for, deer or ungulates or whatever. So like I got this interview, this opportunity to go out, and I loved it. So I kind of fell in love in a big way with like the Western, Eastern Plains, I would say, of Montana. Yeah. And I just fell in love with it. So when I came back, I was dating my then wife, and I was pretty like hell-bent on, I'm moving out to Montana as soon as you finish school. And she's a physical therapist, so she went to school for like almost 8 years, right? So she was still in school as I was out. And so I was working for corporate America. And so this is kind of where the story is interesting, but I bought a boat, a 36-foot yacht that was completely totaled. I literally found it on Craigslist. And the reason I was looking at stuff like this was I didn't want to buy a house because I didn't want to put roots here. And I was really, really like clear with my family, with my wife now. Like I really, 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 it's important to me that we go out to Montana. And that was kind of like, I was influenced a lot about what I was hearing on a lot of these podcasts, I'm sure. But like I was like bit by the public land bug. Like there's thousands of millions of acres. Like I want to go explore it. And I started going on these elk hunts. And, that was probably one of the coolest times of life where I didn't really have any responsibility. My wife was still in school. I was very free to do whatever I wanted.
And I know that time frame.
Yeah. And I had a really good paying job with corporate America. And I was just exploring, really. I was exploring the country. And I did a lot of just solo explorations all the time. I mean, I've hunted more out of state when I was younger than I am now because I'm super busy. But all that to be said, I bought this boat that was 36-footer, twin screw motor yacht. And in the state of Michigan, if anybody knows, like Lake Michigan it's like people would think it was an ocean. You can't see it.
It's for real.
It's big. It's a big piece of the culture in this state. So my grandparents lived up on a little town up there, and I bought this boat. I renovated it for a summer. So like I would get up in the morning, go to work, get out of work, come back. I would work on this boat. There's a lot of fiberglass issues. Like the transom was rotten, had a lot of like water leaks in it. So I would work on it. When I got back from work, till dark, till I couldn't, stand it anymore. I would sleep on the boat, and, boat people will know this, but it's called on the hard. So when the boat's on jack stands in the harbor, out of the water, it's called on the hard. So I struck a deal with the guy I bought it from. Like he owned this marina, and I'm like, hey, if I can work on the boat here, like I'll buy it. Like I don't have anywhere to like work on it. Like he was giving me pointers on how to renovate it because he had done all these things, but he just wanted this thing gone out of his property, basically. So, anyways, I'm working on this boat for a whole summer. Probably
we're already getting into a creative finance deal here, man. I'm already loving it.
I bought this boat for $6,600.
Let's go. And hey, everybody's saying there's 2 good days in the boat owner's life. Just stop. Listen to the story, okay? We'll get to his second day.
Yeah, that's right. But that was probably, I have to mention this because this is a big piece of the story in general, because I know we'll take a while to get there, but this
dude, I can feel it. It's a linchpin, man. I'm feeling like Flipper over here, man, watching Flipper, or something where we're, hold on, let's go like Peanut Butter Falcon or something cool,
So living on the boat, renovate this thing, and we launch it. I lived on this thing for like 3.5 years. And only in the summers, like as many months as I could stretch out, I would live on the boat.
On a 36-foot frame this for me here, cabin cruiser type boat. What did it look like?
This had a fly bridge, so this was like a sport fishing type looking vessel. It was is a 1989. It's an entry level brand. It was like what is it called? A Bayliner.
Okay.
But Bayliner back in the day wasn't the Bayliner, now they used to make like vessels, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
anyways, like it was a 3-story thing. So I had a fly bridge on top. It had like the main galleyway, and then like there was a whole king size bed on the 3rd level on the underneath the deck, basically.
That's awesome.
It was really
awesome.
cool. And I mean, the inside wasn't in bad condition, but it was like truly, you know, in a boater's sense, like it was a total boat. Like you couldn't take it out on big waves because the transom, which is the rear where the motor is, like water seeped in through the fiberglass and just rotted all that wood on the inside. And so like when you have the propeller spin, it puts pressure on the back side of that and it could just break. It's very dangerous. So I took the time. Most people don't have the time to do it, but I literally cut the back side of the boat off. And I mean, it's, 12 foot wide and 6 foot tall. Huge job, very expensive to do if you pay somebody, because as you can imagine, you go to any marina and they charge you.
Yep.
It would have been more than the cost of the boat easily. So, but anyways, I redid this thing, and I'm living on the boat for 3 years.
And I have to know, was then wife ever staying on the boat?
She did once.
He says once.
Well, it was in between her lease. Time
okay,
frame.
I was just gonna say, like, yeah, how much, does she really love you? Like, is she willing to live on the boat?
That was, I'm telling you, man, it was one of the best.
One of those best times to be alive, huh?
It was, but just getting back to the storyline, like that was all done because I didn't want to plant roots in the state of Michigan. Like I truly like felt like I could sell a boat for 30 grand quicker than I could sell a house for whatever. And I didn't want to get comfortable. I was worried about being comfortable and like, oh, maybe I'll just stay. Like I didn't want to settle. I was very wanderlust. I just wanted to like go and explore the world. And so during this time, I'm like working for corporate America. I'm doing the podcast. I'm literally interviewing people on the boat, like all the time. Like that was my studio. Like that was where I was doing everything. It's where I lived. And then in the winters, I would rent from snowbirds. I met a bunch of people from church, and they would let me like rent their house when they went to Florida. I did that for 3.5 years. That's a whole separate story I could tell you about all those different people that I rented from. It's crazy. But anyway, so where am I at in my mind here? So this boat becomes a place where I'm starting to really save money because I got a slip fee for the year, right? I'm renting for the winter months, which is like 4 months of the year. And I'm just piling in cash into my savings account.
Did you eventually take the boat out, right? Like you did eventually finish up. Oh, I was going to say, if we never took the boat out, come on.
No. So like basically for 4 months of the year, you pay to have it stored at the marina. I'm renting in town somewhere. And then I come back in the spring and but it's pretty cheap living. Like you pay $2,500 for the slip fee for the whole year. And like you have obviously taxes, fuel is no joke. Like one fill up is $1,000, like $1,000, 2 big 100-gallon tanks. So like, it's not like I was operating this whole thing to try and save money. And I was hyper focused on saving money because I wanted to like build a house out in the mountains, or I wanted to, set my wife up for success when she got out. Like I could support her when she got out of school and we had all this, student debt, whatever. So I was stocking in cash. And then all of a sudden it was like year 3 of my 3.5 year stunt. And I'm like starting to look at properties in Michigan. Like I'm starting to like look at land, cause all of a sudden, like, that was my dream. Like I told you, like my grandpa had this 30-acre farm and I just fell in love with it. And it was a dream. It almost felt impossible at the time, but like if I could own 40 acres, like it was like, that would be the dream. Hook, line, sinker. That's all I would need is some land. And I was starting to taste it because I had all this money and I had plans for it, but I just started to slowly and like subconsciously, I'm like, all of a sudden I'm walking properties. It's like that. Like all of a sudden I looked at a dozen properties and I'm looking at these, 100-acre pieces and I'm looking at 80-acre pieces. And,
this is all in Michigan, right?
Yeah. All in Michigan. And it was like a weird internal like battle where I really, really wanted to go to Montana. Like I told my family, everybody knew that Nate was moving to Montana. Like that was everybody's mindset. But like I find myself like looking at these investments. There was this like old bar and grill in the town that I was like where my boat was slipped at, that this old gas station was for sale, but like you could see the lake. And I was like, highly considering investing in this building because I thought that we could make a bar and grill out of it, and it would be like this rooftop patio. I had the vision. I could see it. So I almost bought that, and it didn't end up working because of some like environmental things with the tanks that were in the ground. But like I had builders out. I had multiple quotes. Like I was highly considering investing in it, and like I would snap out of it and I'd be like, Nate, what are you doing? Like you're doing all this so that you can go west when my wife Lexi, when she graduates. So I'm like internally kind of having these challenges, but
I know those challenges. I have them every day. I know what you're saying.
But to keep this going, like not just drag this out.
I love it, dude. I love where we're going. This is awesome.
So I'm walking these properties, and you know, I don't even know how to say it, but like I just started walking them, like a dozen or property, you know, more than a dozen, 90.
Well, you start taking some action. I mean, I think, Nate, what you will resonate with now being a land agent as well. And we'll get there, everybody. I can't spoil all the goods in the front end here, but like there's a lot of times like, and I think this is spiritual for me, like I have to take action to figure out whatever the next step is. Like so many people that just wait on the next step before they take action. I don't understand that. I never have. And for people that are like, do you have it all figured out? That just is weird to me. Like I would totally do exactly what you're doing, where you would say, I found myself walking properties. Like I don't even know if I could put my finger on why, but I can promise you God had a reason.
Yeah.
There was an earnest, just a yearning there, and that is all you got to have. To me, like that's okay.
Yeah. So kind of about this time, like, I mean, we had made offers actually on a couple of them, and I was working remotely. So like my wife, you know, she was still in school. So basically we could live almost anywhere, you know? So I was looking at everything from the west side of Michigan to the east side to the southern to central. Like I was looking hours and hours apart. Like just, I was really, really drawn to bigger tracts of land. And like I said, it just always seemed like this distant dream to be able to own any amount of ground. And I'm all of a sudden walking 90-acre pieces that I have enough money to actually buy. And it was just like it's like I woke up one day and I'm looking at property. So here I am walking, and
this would have been what about time frame, just to kind of track here? What time frame?
Right like pre-COVID, like right at 2020.
Pivotal time.
Very. And so we so kind of at this time, like Painted Arrow is like, it's truly just a podcast. I mean, that's all it is.
How'd you come up with that name? I love it.
You know, Painted Arrow, I mean, for a lot of people, like you see those pictures now on Instagram where there's a quiver full of arrows and one of them's red. That's a painted arrow. And that symbolizes a lot of things, and it ties into how our brand makes mobile hunting gear for, you know, people to film their hunts on a budget. And it's kind of like this beautiful thing that it was, we didn't have the products early on, obviously, but like when we think about Painted Arrow now, like we're trying to help people recover critters. Like that's our mission. That's our goal, is to help people recover animals. And if they have any amount of intel filming their hunts, that's a good thing, right?
Yep.
And so like that ties in nicely with our mission of helping people recover animals, helping people recover that blood on the arrow, on the trail, etc. So, but that's what it is. Truly, a painted arrow is a bloody arrow. So,
I love it. I on the surface, yeah, you know, okay, sure, it's a painted arrow. It's a painted, bloody arrow. But yeah, I was looking for that backstory, and it is awesome. And I love to hear that your mission is to help people recover those. I'd love to connect you with a guy that is incredibly passionate about that. I'll give you a little side plug here for a second, but there's a guy that I've run into named Brian Johnson who has a whole thing called the Anatomy Deer Hunter.
Yeah.
And so do you know about Brian at all?
I've seen his stuff at shows. We've never personally met, but I know how, his thing. So
man, he would be a great kind of synergy for you, because he is incredibly passionate about helping people recover animals by teaching better shot placement, by teaching what the actual anatomy of deer are and what happens in shot placement. He's got this 5-arrow challenge where if you can successfully shoot 5 animals and recover them, like you're, in the club. And he's trying to really change the narrative from, this is my assumption, but less Boone and Crockett, more successful harvest, and hearing you say what you said, I think you guys could be a great synergy. Brian has really exploded on social media, and he's not a young guy. He's probably in his late 60s, but I had him in camp this fall, just out of happenstance, fell in love with the guy. He is a pure, good, Christian, hardworking man that cares about recovering wildlife. I mean, he gave me the number of like, my goal is to reduce the wildlife loss by 150,000 in so many years. I mean, like, he's down to the T of what he wants to do. So anyways, your mission and his synergy, man, I think there could be something there for sure. Who knows? Maybe Painted Arrow could be part of some merch or something if the people successfully accomplish the 5 arrow challenge. I think it's amazing to get back to what you said, like helping people recover animals. That's the true success in the sport.
Yeah.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So, all right. So we went to Painted Arrow. It was just a podcast at this point. We have built a boat. There's like, dude, you got to have a book or a TLC show. I mean, this is amazing. Like, my story isn't half as cool. I should have thrown a boat to the whole thing. Like, I can't believe I didn't do that. So we're podcasting on a boat at a certain point. I mean, I love that so much, and it continues to grow. And maybe we are to the point, are we to the point of like, hey, you're starting to feel a pivot, or are we to the point of the podcast is really getting big?
Well, it's you have a podcast, so you kind of understand, but like, it's really important to have like a why, like, because it's hard. I mean, it really is. Like, for the first year, I was basically talking to nobody, like you just gotta you have to have this mission and this goal, and you have to continue to return to that why. And kind of like at this point in the story, like, I was starting to have like a follower base, nothing crazy. I had, social media platforms, and I would always like take selfies of me, like doing my thing, living on the boat. People love that, and so, but Devin, this is kind of when, Devin enters the story. He's my best friend, we went to grade school together. I mean, I think we were in 3rd grade, 4th grade, and 5th grade together. So it's like playing on sports teams together, and kind of during the college thing, like, we obviously went different ways. And, I think we reconnected like somewhere like at a Thanksgiving time frame when we're all back at home. And, I think I reached out to him like, hey, you want to go fishing or something? Or he reached out to me like, hey, you want to go fishing? And like, we started like hanging out again, and so he starts like, I start interviewing him a lot on the podcast. He's basically a co-host, and like, he's just my boy. And so finally, like, he had this idea, and I'm going to return back to the land and the boat. I'm going to get there, but I'm going to tie this up.
Oh yeah. And we might have to learn if you got a successful offer. So tie all that together.
Yep. I'm going to tie it all in. I promise. It's a divine, this whole story is pretty divine. So
hook, line, and sinker, pun intended, starts with a fishing gig.
So Dev's, like on the podcast all the time. And right about this time where I'm looking at properties, he and I are like really tight. And so go back to this, the land search. I go and drive to a property, and he and I are like, I would let him know about everything I was looking at. Like, 'cause he and I would get on Onyx and like, yeah, I'm going to go look at this 90-acre piece. And, we'd look at the creek bottom, and like, maybe you should go walk in this area and see if there's any, like, we would spitball before I'd even get there to like try and, help each other out, kind of thing. So, and he was really invested in it, because he wanted to own land too. Like, he was living the same life, trying to figure out a way to pivot in his life and move and own land and set up shop, have kids, the American dream, for lack of a better word. So he was very invested in my future. And so I remember this is a really, really, really crazy story. This is where a lot of things pivot, which was where I bought my first farm. And, first glance, this property came up, and I had put an offer on one other piece, and it was really close to being a deal, but it didn't work out. They wouldn't come down to the price that I wanted to pay, and it just didn't work out. And at this time, like, I'm doing all the talking for myself. I didn't have a buyer's agent. And I was just like, I couldn't find anybody to keep up with me, because I was looking in, 2 hours in each direction. So like, having an agent to like show up and like actually be there was super tough. So I would like call these listing agents and be like, hey, I'd like to look at this today at 4 o'clock. Can I be there? And that's kind of how I was doing my thing. So,
and they didn't answer, or they didn't show up, right?
But lots of time, like I saw all things. I mean,
Yeah,
sometimes
I have too. I have too, Nate. I am not against agents. I mean, there's people that have said that they think I'm against agents. I'm not. I just like people that work hard. And you just said it. Like, it's hard in this space, especially to find. And I know there's, I got really good friends that are some of the best agents I've ever had, and they're rock stars. And there's some rock stars out there, but there's a lot that aren't. And it's tough. It's just tough because and for me, the frustration, give it back to you, but the frustration is you're not helping your seller. You're not helping your seller. Like you took an oath to me to represent your seller properly. I'm calling as an engaged, interested, prospective buyer, and you don't even connect with me. Like, that is tough. Something I wanted to ask you, Nate, when you're looking, you said you're looking 2 hours every direction. First, since this is pre-COVID area, just for a little fun side fact here, if you don't care, we don't need to know exactly where you were looking, but what was your average price per acre about in that era? Because I think if we talk farther down the timeline here of what's that stuff worth now, that'd be fun. But also, what were you looking for in a property? Like, what was your criteria if you're looking that far geographically?
Yeah, so like some of the criteria I had was like I really wanted, I mean, it sounds, when I say it now, it's crazy, but I wanted at least 40 acres. And
yeah,
now
I get it.
40 acres to me is not that much,
Dude, Morgan Wallen sang about it, man, Not everybody's got that spot out on the 40, so I'm with you, bud.
That was my thing. Like, if I could have a Michigan 40 at least, like, that'd be great. So that was basically my filter there. And then I was looking at, I really, really, really wanted some swamp potentially. I wanted some like thicket, because if anybody knows Michigan, I mean, we have hundreds of thousands of hunters, and that's typically where the deer go to get old, is they live in these swamps, right? So I wanted to have something like that, and basically I really wanted to have like bigger tracts for neighbors. I didn't want to have like 10 people hunting 10-acre slivers all around the edges. Like, I wanted to have like, farmers, basically big farmers as neighbors. So that's my criteria, and then I'll tell you details of this transaction. So it's right around COVID now. I think COVID's like just had started, and I got an insane deal on this first farm. But when it first came up, like, I didn't, like, we would always look at it. When I say we, me and Devin, I would call Devin, what do you think of this one? We would look at it online and like from a topo map, Google Maps, like just trying to get some intel, because I would be driving in 2 hours and didn't want to waste my time. But this one,
these are all listed properties, I'm assuming. Like, these are hitting the market through an agent.
Yep.
Okay.
And there was a lot more inventory at the time. I mean, it's just different now, and I can talk about that more. But this one hit the market, and it was priced right. I mean, it was 66 acres. It was 50 of the 66 acres were CRP.
Okay.
And I was like, when I saw it on a topo map, and it had an old house, that was another thing I was targeting. That's really important to mention. Like, I wanted to have like a house on it, because I could buy it with less down. I didn't have as much cash to put down, and I didn't care if it needed a little love, because I'm a handy guy. Like, I can fix things, and kind of like I mentioned with the boat, like, I'm not willing to take a risk. And
yep.
My wife was still not graduated, so I had options there. I had.
And were you were going to plan to live in the house, or just get a renter, or what would you have done?
I mean, again, kind of all this, there's not really much of a plan, but like, I just knew that if I found a piece of property that I loved, like, I wanted it to be something that I could envision myself there, like, living forever. And I know that sounds crazy, because I was going to go to Montana, but like, I'm like seeing my grandfather's property everywhere I'm walking. I'm like, man, this reminds me of my grandpa's property, and kind of.
What did I tell you? What did I tell you earlier? Same thing, man.
Yeah.
Legacy for me is on my grandpa's farm. It is.
Yeah, 100%, man. I mean, but I'm driving down this dirt road, and this is a crazy story. This is a really crazy story.
Every good story starts with a dirt road, dude. I mean, let's go. So,
driving down this dirt road, and when the property first came up, I'm like, I'm not going to go look at this one. It's all open field. It doesn't look right. Not a lot of topography. Like, just wasn't. But nothing came up for a couple weeks, so I went and looked at the property. So I'm driving down the dirt road. I'm almost there. I'm pulling up, and usually I would like drive the frontage and just take like drive around before I just pull in and start walking, like see the scene. So driving down this dirt road, and right next to this house that's on the property, the house looks like a dumper. It looks like it's junk, but it's an old dairy farm that's completely ran down. It looks like, probably 3-generation dairy farm, old tires everywhere. Like you know what I'm talking about. Just a
Dude, I'm already in. I'm already buying. Like, this smells like my guy. This smells like some opportunity here.
Yeah. So and it's out in the middle. I mean, it's probably 6 or 7 miles north of the Ohio border. So like I'm southern Michigan.
You got to turn that do not disturb on, Nate. You're too important. Jeez.
Is it hitting hard?
Yeah. Hey, guests, he is a big deal, okay? It's a big deal.
I don't know how to turn it off on the fly here.
Do not disturb, I'd say. Like, if you're on, you have a Mac?
I got it.
Yeah, good. All right, cool. No, you're good.
So
Dairy Farm.
Pulling up on this property, driving the road frontage, and just 20 yards to the left of this house, 50 yards off of the road, I see a giant rack. And I'm
write the offer.
like, no, this is a real story. Like, this is the biggest deer I've ever seen, hands down. And I literally saw it, and my first instinct was like, man, that's like an old decoy that just got blown into this CRP field. Like, I truly thought it was
where's the DNR? Where's the green jeans? What's happening here?
I just thought it was like this decoy of some sort. Because it was weird. It was right off the road. I mean, and it's December. It was December 12th or something. So, like, this deer is, like, feeling safe there, obviously, end of the season. And I turn the truck around, pull in the driveway, get my phone out, and I walk at this rack, and this thing jumps up, and I get video of this thing. I mean, I walked within 15 yards of him, and this buck jumps up, runs down into the property further, and I just sit there and videotape this buck. And I'm looking at this deer. I called Devin too. I'm like, Dev, you're not going to believe this. And he was, what? I'm like, I'm pretty sure I just saw like a 160-inch buck. And he goes, no. And I'm like, I took a video of it. He goes, send it to me, like, send it. So I send it to him, and I'm like, he calls me back after he watches the video. He goes, Nate, that might be a 160-inch deer. And I'm like, I know. I've been telling you, like, I've never seen anything like it. So I start walking around this property, and I end up finding where this buck lives. I mean, it's very, 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 very clear that, I mean, it's just shredded down in the bottom of the CRP area, thick, gnarly, hidden in plain sight type of place, like not even bigger than an acre, just this gnarly thicket in the middle of a big CRP field, right? 50-acre CRP field. And I'm just like, this is where this deer's living, like, it's pretty obvious. Just keep walking the property, you see a bunch of turkeys. There's pheasants everywhere in this CRP. And I saw another, I think, 140-inch buck at about 25 yards, tending in like a late season young doe.
Is the agent with you this whole time?
No, I just walked it by myself.
Okay, I was getting ready to say, dude, that agent's probably like, yeah, it's done.
But I literally called my wife, my now wife. She wasn't then. She's literally 3 hours away. She was going to Grand Valley up in Grand Rapids, and I call her. I'm like, honey, I'm going to make an offer on this property. And she asked me, she goes, what's going on? Like, I thought we were going to Montana. Like, I know you're looking at property, but are you serious? Are you sure this is something you want to do? And my wife, she's selfless is a good word to describe her. And I would say, like, she's proven in our marriage, like, she trusts me. Like, I've done some crazy, crazy stuff, but, like, my wife, Lex, like, she's trusted me. I mean, through action, right? Not through words, but through her actions. And so when I called her, our relationship's come a long way since that time frame. But she was like, she wasn't saying no, but she was just really questioning, like, Nate, this is not exactly what you've been painting to me for the last little while here. Like, are you sure this is something that you want to do? And it was out in the middle of nowhere. It was not near any of our family. Like, and we kind of wanted to, like, separate ourselves and do our own thing and, like, settle somewhere that we could call our own, if for lack of better words. But to be honest with you, man, like, this deer captivated me in a way. Like, I know people, like, when they see big bucks, they get, like, thirsty or whatever you want to call it. But, like, I truly felt like this was God telling me, like, hey, because there was a big part of me moving to Montana that I'm just like, like, I grew up. I mean, you grow up somewhere, everybody. You got friends, your mom and dad. Like, we're going to move 30 hours across the country and just, like, set up shop. Had no job plan, had nothing planned, just, like, was going to wing it. And this buck truly captivated me in a way that I was like, I felt like it was God talking to me through this deer. And people might not understand that. I've had conversations with this specific story.
I very well do understand that.
I just felt like that was God winking at me, like, man, like this might be where I want you. And it had the manure smell in the air, and I just like I could feel it. I could feel like the dirt road where my grandfather grew up, like I could feel it in my bones. I'm like, this is the one. This is it. Like I can improve this. I hadn't even seen the house yet, but I get up there, it's an absolute dumper. I mean,
let's go.
A total dumper.
Trash.
There was holes, there was dead cats in the crawl space. It was like,
dude,
had bunnies in there. The wood floors smelled like pee. It was
perfect.
Like the worst. But exactly for somebody who has vision,
yes.
It's what you want.
Dude. I flipped so many houses, man. When I'd go in a house and it smelled like mold and just mothballs and everything terrible, I'm like, this smells like money to me. I mean, I love that smell. So, oh my goodness. All right, now I'm at the edge of my seat here. Do you happen to live here today on this property? Can you spoil this for us or no?
So the answer is no. I can't believe I don't.
Okay. Wait a second. Do you have chapters in your own journey that you kind of regret? Wait a second. Surely not.
Yeah, this one, I never thought I would. I mean, the renovation that I did, this was during COVID. Like I think our interest rate was like 2.9. I think yeah.
Okay, hold on. Back up, everybody. All right,
when
Nate.
I put an offer on this, like
30-year note, 3%.
Yeah, I get back up to the house, and there was like another couple there looking at the property. So all of a sudden, there's like a bunch of interest, and it was on the market for like 2 weeks. And all of a sudden, there was 3 offers in, and I was one of them. And one of them was all cash for like quite a bit less than what asking was. One of them was contingent upon a home sale, and mine was just like a straight up, I was going to finance it. And so I was just happened to get lucky, get into this. This is kind of interesting that I think you'd appreciate the details on, but I mean, the well was broke. Like everything that was possibly could go wrong was
Smoked.
wrong. But so that allowed me to then negotiate even further on the price. Right. And I had to do some things special with the lending, and like it was one of those situations. It was pre-COVID. So some things I feel like have changed since then, but 2.9 interest rate. I think I bought the whole thing for $240,000. And it was basically I bought the land. I mean, truly, I bought just the land. I mean, I ended up redoing the entire house, pulled all the subfloor outs. The house didn't have irrigation properly installed, so every time it rained, it would go down underneath the crawl space, and it rotted the floorboards, it rotted the joists, rotted everything up. There was mold. It was basically everything but like the block wall was touched.
Yep,
Roof,
I've
trim,
been there.
Gutters, floors, joists. Like I was underneath this house. I put in a new vapor barrier. I put in a condensing unit. Like everything, trim, paint, dry, like everything, complete gutter. Like
Mm-hmm.
So
I vividly remember standing in dirt crawl spaces, like taking treated 4x4s on a sandstone foundation and shimming them to where all the floor joists could sit on sandstone, but at different levels, shimming it with cutting 4x4s on a chop saw at different heights to get a level floor to start all the way over and do what you did. Vapor barrier, insulation, like everything. I've been termites, all of it. I know exactly what you're talking about.
And I don't know if I could do that again, just at the place in life that I'm in with kids and everything. But like truly those are some of the fondest days, like my dad out there helping me and, mixing concrete in an old concrete mixer and just trying to make things happen. Like we're crawling under this house, and the farmer built this house in like the 40s or something. And it was like the beam spacing was like completely out of code, and the actual like foundation was these old paint cans, old 5-gallon paint cans filled with concrete.
Hey, what's wrong with that? Now we have to get intricate. Were these Ace Hardware cans? Were these Lowe's, Home Depot?
They were old. They were steel paint cans.
Somebody who's older than us get on here and say what the hardware store would have been called back then. They were, Benjamin Moore metal paint cans.
Yep.
So keep going though, man. This is so good. Keep going.
Yeah. So buy this property. I start renovating it. COVID's in full swing. My wife is just about ready to graduate, and I'm trying to get this home finished so that she can move in. And, this is really when Painted Arrow came out with products. And so I'm hunting this big deer now, and I'm seeing this buck all the time.
And this is the same deer that was at the listing day or the showing day. Okay, so is this same year, or what time frame did you look at the property again?
I bought it right at the beginning of 21.
Okay, all right. So you're headed into the next season.
I'm trying to remember. It was literally during COVID. I was renovating this house during COVID, so I bought it just before that, whatever year and time that was. I don't remember.
But you're not chasing that same deer in the same season. Okay, so the next year, same deer though.
Yep.
Nice.
Bought it sometime in December, and then all of a sudden though, I'm renovating the house. That took me 6 or 7 months, and then so now Painted Arrow, this is kind of when the products come into play, and the products really started a couple years before this time frame, but we didn't start selling product until about this time frame. So Devin, like you were mentioning before, he's an engineer, so he has a skill set that I don't have, where he can get onto software and design things. And he interned at the place that we actually partner with to manufacture our products. He interned with a gentleman that was very awesome, and letting he and I going in on night shift. We would prototype product, and he would let us use the machinery and some scrap metal and have at it kind of thing, as long as it's not taken away from. Awesome opportunity. So Devin, probably in 2019, 2020, he made this thing, and we have so much. It's so cool because we used to document all of it on our cell phones, and so we still have a lot of this footage. And he came up with this thing one day. He was out on a hunt, and Devin had the idea for this product. We called it the Mag Mount at the time, and this is our number one selling product today, called the Mag Pro Plus, which if anybody out there runs one, the product. But it's our compound bow. It's a magnetic phone mount that goes on your compound bow. So he literally had a really, really bad hunt, and he and I were like I said, we were best friends, hunting buddies, and he shot this deer back, tracked it too early, bumped it out of his bed, and that starts this thing for he and I is let's start filming our hunts, right?
Yep.
We can get any amount of intel on a hunt rather than nothing. We'd probably be a lot better at recovering deer. And you know how it is when you're young. You learn things the hard way. You take shots you're not supposed to take. You rush shots. Yep. And all this to be said, we start trying to film our hunts. And Devin, he had this idea. He gets in his truck. He's pissed off the night that he bumps this buck, throws his phone on the dashboard with his magnetic mount, and he kind of has this light bulb moment of man, maybe I'll try and make something like that for my phone, so we can just throw it on there in the moment, and then you draw, shoot, and you can just film what you're looking at. So he makes a couple prototypes. He gives one to me. We've been running them in the background for probably a couple years, sharing footage. It was very, very useful because if you think about it, I can be hunting 2 hours south, he can be hunting 2 hours north. We're the kind of guys we're calling, hey, did you I just saw one come through. Have you been seeing anything yet? It was
Yep.
That's kind of the hunting buddies that we were. So I would film something, an encounter, crop it, send it, shoot it over to Dev. He would be in the tree stand at his property looking at it oh, that's a really good buck. And all of a sudden we kind of start seeing how valuable this product is and how easy it is to share and send and film and recover critters. And so we're vibing on this product, and all of a sudden people start saying what's this? What's this thing that's on your bow? What is that? And that's pretty cool. Where do I get one? So all this is kind of building up in the background. And right about the time that I moved, Devin and I had already partnered as official 50-50 partners with Painted Arrow. And I wasn't making any money on the podcast. He was my number one interview. He was on there all the time with me. There was no money to be made. So he and I kind of agreed, let's try and monetize this in some way. So we were looking at food plot seed. We were looking at different ways to make money. And then so many people right about this time frame when I bought this farm, everybody kept asking about this Mag Mount, we called it. And so Devin's man, what if we just try and sell some of these? And we're let's try it. Let's see. We got nothing to lose. We're not, it's not like we're making any money or losing any money. So I think he and I both put in a couple $100s. We went down on night shift. We made some of these products up. We bought some magnets, found a supplier, and like we made this thing, and like we call it the Mag Mount. So we go to this trade show in 2021, Grand Rapids, Michigan, and we go there. Didn't have a you know how trade shows are. Like there's fancy booth displays and people.
And then
have
there's
like,
you guys.
They have logo shirts and like everybody's got a pitch and there's like a process and an order sheet, and we had a table with no cover. We like took these like 5-gallon buckets and like cemented in old posts as trees, and like we were trying to like hang our bows on it and show people like this one product where you could take your phone, you magnetize it on by using the plate that's on the back side of your phone, like that one right there. And what do you think happened? We took 150 pieces to this trade show. What do you think happened?
I have it. You just can't see it. You sold all 150 and it went crazy?
We sold 150 in the first day.
And you guys were like, what just happened?
Dude, you know how like, were you a sports guy?
I am such a sports guy. No, I've been holding this back, Nate, but you being from Michigan and me being an Ohio State diehard, you didn't try to steal that 40 acres first, did you? I just was, anyway, just curious.
I love that.
I mean, you knew about Sharon Moore the whole time. Anyways, that'll probably get this canceled.
I'm actually a State fan. I don't like Michigan.
Oh, that's good. All right, so you don't like football. Got you. All right, keep going.
So,
but you kill at basketball, so I got you.
but basically after that day, you know, like we're dapping, we're like, yeah, dude.
All right, let's hold on though. I want to break this down. 150 of them, if you even remember, what do you sell them for, and what do you think you have in them? Like, this is the fun stuff.
I think we were selling them then for $39.99. And we were putting them in like a bag, like a lunch bag. You know what I'm saying? It was nicer than a lunch bag, but it looked like a Ziploc bag. It was crude packaging. But we would literally like stop people, and everybody's walking around at a hunting expo with like a Matthews hat or a Hoyt hat or a Prime or whatever. And so we'd stop people and be like, hey, are you a hunter? And they'd be like, yeah. I'm like, do you have a cell phone? And they'd be like, yeah, it's 2021. Like, of course I got a cell phone. And we'd be like, just check this out. We'd hold our bow, put the phone mount on, slap it on there, and just like sit in silence.
Yeah.
Dude,
you said $50, right? $50?
I think it was $39.99 is what
Dude,
we originally
$40. And by the way, everyone who's like, we should go back for that now, just shut up collectively. Listen,
yeah.
$40, like, dude, if I have a pulse and you can put my phone on a bow for $40, take my money. Like that's $40. Like you just have a trade show for $40. That's nothing there, comparatively speaking to what's out. That's nothing.
We've changed a lot since then. Like prices are higher than that now. We've got a much more robust manufacturing plan and packaging and et cetera. But like that's the true. Like we were blown away by that day, and that was like a day that we often Again,
reflect
going back to your why, like what your why is, like that was like 0 to 1 and going and just having success. And like we were just kids in a candy shop. I mean, we were just like, we couldn't believe it. And so like all of a sudden, we were just reinvesting every single dollar. So Dev's working a full-time job. I'm working a full-time job. The house is about renovated. And like, that was like probably 2 years really. The inception of the product, like he and I just testing them ourselves, that was probably 2 years before I bought this home. So about a year into that, we partnered, and then right at like this current time, like we've officially launched the product on Painted Arrow, like Instagram page. We got a website going, and we're all of a sudden like starting to sell a little bit of product. Just like I think year one was, the first like full 12 months, I think we might have sold like $45,000. And one SKU. And what I would do, because I got to a point too where this is a really long story, but I'm willing to tell it. So.
I am here for it. And you guys just thought we were going to talk about a product and how it works in the hunting industry. We're getting the juice on how it got there.
That's right. I love telling the story because it's just like it's very fond to memories in general. But so where was I going there?
You said you had sold 45,000 in product or so.
Yes.
And
sold 45,000. And this is the point where like I hear a lot of people talk about like for guys, I'm talking specifically about guys, younger gentleman just coming out of college, especially like I played basketball in college, like really purpose driven, like had a group of people around me. We went to chapel, together, like eat breakfast together. All of a sudden you go into the real world and you're working with 60-year-old dudes who like, they just, you don't, there's nothing in common there. You're younger than their kids. And maybe there's a 45-year-old woman that's like a grumpy person, and you're like in the real world. And like,
Yep.
I had a huge crisis with this company that I worked for, where I just had no purpose. I felt absolutely like a floater. I felt, I would pray about it, like often. I think it was a 6 or 7 year period where my prayer to God was truly something like, Lord, like, I know I'm made for more than this. I know it. I know in my being that I'm like not supposed to be doing this forever. But I was trusting him. I was asking him, like, give me a purpose. Like, give me purpose, God, please. Like, I would get on my hands and knees. You know how like the ones that you want them to hit hard to God, you get on your hands and knees when you're desperate and you feeling like you need an answer. I was getting on my hands and knees for years, like truly years. And I was asking God, like, give me purpose, please. Like, this is not it for me. I can't do this forever. And I was banging my head against the door every day, like just not agreeing with what was happening. Just true cutthroat corporate America, and couldn't stand it. But I was making good money, like it's hard to walk away from when they got you with insurance and they got you with the vehicle and they got you with the salary and they're taking care of you. Like it's not easy to just walk away. And I would often struggle with everybody from the outside looking in. Everybody says like, Nate, you got it made. You're working for this company. You got good money coming in. Like you're about to get married to your wife. Like you can't quit. You can't do that. And on paper, I always think about this. Like Painted Arrow. Like Devin and I would we call it GSDs. Get shit done. Sorry for cussing there, but
hey, sometimes we got to do a cuss. I'm with you.
We call it GSD meetings, and that was literally he and I were working full-time jobs. We get up every day at 4 a.m. As many days in a week we could. We get up at 4 a.m. before everybody woke up, and we would try and push the ball down the court in some way. And so all of a sudden, I'm going out to dealers, like stores, and I got a product in a bag, and I've got my bow, and I would literally just, knock on people's doors, call people, hey, I'm going to be in the area, got a new product, love to show you. All of a sudden, we start putting on these dealers. I mean, I'm in true, American-made
phone book sales vibe, dude, the whole thing.
Showing up and asking.
Yep.
Asking for it. And that was literally, all of a sudden, we start, seeing some traction. We're putting on dealers, almost all of them in the state. I was traveling high, low, left, right. I was going. All of a sudden I start traveling to Ohio. All of a sudden I start traveling to Indiana, just knocking all these dealers off. And so all of a sudden we got a little traction. My mom is making our product in her basement. You walk in her basement. This is the house that I grew up in. There's boxes everywhere. We had one single SKU. And
Mag Mount.
Yeah, Mag Mount. And we found out that was trademarked, and that's why we switched the name to Mag Pro Plus. So anyway, but everything is at my mom's basement. Devin's got some stuff at his house. I'm fulfilling packages out of my house. We both have daytime jobs. All of a sudden, we're living at this house. I'm hunting this deer. This is a beautiful story. It all comes full circle. All of a sudden, this deer, it's time to hunt. We're at that fall stage, right? And I nicknamed this buck, as soon as I saw him, I nicknamed him the Holy Spirit buck. Because like I told you, I felt like this deer was talking to me. I felt like when I was ready to put an offer in on that property the day that I walked it, it felt like God was telling me, Nate, this is where I want you, right here. And so I nicknamed the deer the Holy Spirit buck. I get him on velvet a bunch. I'm seeing him all the time. I run a lot, I run the roads. And I'm running the county block, and I see this buck often. I'm seeing him. I know where he's living. I know what he's doing. I'm actually thinking I'm going to get a shot at this deer. And I'm a young kid. I mean, I'm a young dude. The biggest deer I'd ever shot was probably a 85-inch 8-point. No lie.
Yep.
I mean, that's the biggest deer I'd ever shot. not even with a bow. The biggest bow buck I ever shot before this deer, you'll find out, is like a dinker. Like,
I'm glad that is a commonly used term amongst us folk, a dinker.
So here comes the opener in the state of Michigan is October 1st. Okay. 2021, October 1st. Here I am. The night before that. So this would have been, what is that? The September 30th?
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah. There's no 30. I always go back to the kids saying 30 days, half September. There's no 31 days in September.
The last day of September, I'm hunting in Ohio on public land. And the spot that I was going to kill this deer was where, when I jumped this deer, I told you I bumped him down to an area and I found out where he was living. Like, it was pretty obvious. Everything was tore up. Like, I found some beds. I'm like, this deer is living right here, like right here. So I was seeing him all over around the county block, on these farm fields in the beans all summer. October 1st is the next day, and I'm hunting and I'm looking at, it's got to be a west wind a southwest wind, specifically a southwest, for me to get into this one tree that I had hung sticks in that I was going to go saddle hunt from and try and shoot this deer. That was my plan. Waiting for a southwest wind. I wanted a good temperature drop. You know, I was pretty young, but like I was looking for those two things specifically, like a southwest and a little bit of a temperature drop, get the deer up moving and get in there. So the next morning, October 1st, it's a southwest wind and there was a 15 degree temperature drop, biggest we'd had in a long time. And I'm just like, man, I'm gonna go hunt this thing tomorrow morning, October 1st. So I go in there. I have video. I mean, there's a whole documentary on YouTube of this deer if you search the Holy Spirit buck, and it's like the crudest video you ever saw.
Dude, I love it though. I'm going to search it.
So it's me. I'm a kid. I got so excited. I'm in my pole barn, and I'm like putting on all my stuff and I'm getting ready to go. I go all the way down to this. I mean, it's a pretty long walk. Get all the way down to the tree that I'm going to saddle hunt. And I didn't even put my saddle on because I was so excited. I was so fired up to hunt this deer. So I walk all the way back up to the barn, put all my stuff on, like make sure I got everything, my release, like whatever. Go down, get in this tree. It's like, it's right about that time. You know how like the sun is just like, it's right there. It's just coming up. Everything's warming. The birds are starting to make their noise. And I've never hunted this farm. I just bought this property. I saw this buck, bought it. I'm living high on life. I never thought I'd own 60 some acres. Here I am my first time hunting my property. And I hear what sounds like a buck making a scrape, making a rub, banging his antlers on some trees. And I'm like, it sounds like a deer. Like, I don't really know, but it sounds like it's that scrape over there. It sounds like it's a deer. And I'm still like totally like just enjoying this first morning hunt, not really expecting to see anything because I hadn't got this deer on camera. And literally this buck, you couldn't miss him. I mean, he was a giant. He was right under my tree at 12 yards. Within 30 seconds of me hearing what I thought was this buck making a scrape or something. And it's like, I'm a little bit fired up, as you can imagine. Like,
sure.
This is the biggest rack I've ever seen in my life. It was a huge, wide, beautiful rack. And I draw back, and I could just barely see my pin, just barely. And I let the arrow fly. Deer bounds away, and I'm like, I couldn't really see him because it was like still kind of like just first light. Like, where's he at? I couldn't see his rack because there was some like white sticks there. You know, it's all kind of blending in. Light comes up, and this deer's standing there. And I can clearly see with the binoculars, like I hit him back, but it passed through. The arrow's right there. I could see the arrow on the ground, but he was kind of flicking the tail, you know. And I'm like, go down, I'm like, go down. But he ends up bedding down and getting up and bedding down and getting up and moving and bedding down like a bunch of times. And he was too far to shoot. Like, and this thick CRP is like over his back. Like, I couldn't shoot again. And long story short, I shot this deer in the liver, waited 12 hours, go in there that night, and he was on his last legs, and I had to shoot him again at like point blank range. But get this deer in my hands, and I lose it. Just lose it.
Yeah, I mean, dude, it's the culmination of everything that you've just said. It's the culmination of it all. It's the full circle of it all.
So the Holy Spirit buck, I called Devin. I'm like, dude, I just shot this deer. But he's bedding and getting down, bedding, whatever. He's like, I'm coming out. I'm coming. I'm getting out of work right now. He leaves work. We sit up on this hill, and for the whole day before we went down to like actually find him that evening, we're like glassing down to the CRP, and we're like just freaking out because we're young kids. I mean, young 20s, like freaking out about this deer. And Devin's by my side, like I wouldn't have had it any other way. We go down and recover this deer together. He was just as invested in this deer as I was, and something about that recovery, it really it was like a start to the brand Painted Arrow. And like that deer got a little bit of, recognition in the area. Like we won a couple of, the local buck poll. It was like the biggest deer easily, like if anybody knows Michigan, like 165-inch buck it's a monster. I mean, it is a
265-inch buck.
It's a freaking monster. I mean, it got a lot of attention. So we start posting some videos online, and all of a sudden we get our first real traction of like people seeing us online. And that was like, it was weird. I'll be honest with you. Like I told you, the biggest deer I'd ever shot before that was like 100, like maybe 100 inches, maybe, with a shotgun, with a slug. Like nothing like any of this archery 165-inch deer stuff like that.
Saddle hunter stuff.
It was my first saddle I ever bought. Like I was fired up. First saddle kill, first kill on the farm, first day I owned it, biggest deer ever. I was just on cloud nine. And so like from that day on, it seemed like it was like God confirming, like, this is what I want you doing. Like you're on the right track. Like continue to pursue Painted Arrow. And so Devin and I start getting traction. Like I was telling you, we're getting traction. And all of a sudden it gets to a point where we're in this a little ways. I think it's like 2022, 2023 timeframe, like right in between there. And like the company, it grew. Like with one product, it grown pretty substantially. And we were putting on dealers. We had just put on a Shields, like 30 different Shields. And they're one of our great partners still to this day. But we were in 30 different Shields. We didn't know how many they were going to order. We didn't know who the people were that we needed to be talking to continue to grow our account with them. All we knew was like Shields gave us the email like, hey, you will be going into 30 stores this year. And so this company, like we were both pretty worn thin on doing this like on the side thing. And we both kind of agreed like, hey, this is probably as big as this is going to get. This company's as big as it's going to get without somebody jumping ship, like, and actually putting full-time effort on it. And, I'll be really transparent. Like, I think we had $8,000 in our bank account when when I actually quit my job. And it was like, it wasn't just willy-nilly, Nate's going to quit his job. It was a lot of thought put into it. There was a lot of prayer put into it. It was a lot of talking to my wife about it. It was a lot of like calculating what we thought we could, do with this new Shields account. Like, is this going to be able to afford me? I was going to take a big pay cut. I mean, I had a company truck, so I was going to have to get a vehicle. What did that look like? My wife was pregnant at the time. This is also right in the process of me selling our farm, because all of a sudden, this is in the background, but the company's kind of slowly taking traction, and we start operating out of Devin's pole barn. So we had no building. I mean, like I told you, it was a little bit was here, a little bit was there in my parents' basement. So Devin bought a home, and you should actually get him on because he's got a great story too. But he bought a home, had 2 outbuildings. We start operating out of one of his outbuildings, and we didn't have to pay a ton of rent. Like later on, we kind of found ways to make it even for using his pole barn. But like all of a sudden, Devin's house is like the new HQ. Like that's where I'm driving every day. And so we're in the process of trying to move closer. Want to be closer because we got a kid coming, be closer to the family, the whole thing. So like when I quit, it was a huge, 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 huge deal. Like it wasn't like, if you've been there and you know what I'm talking about, it's one thing, but I can't explain to you how scary it was. It was so scary. I mean, I was making really good money. Had a company truck. I had no insurance when we quit. Like it was like this huge, like on paper, none of this made sense.
Dude, I wish you could hear Nate, and I'm sure you do hear this and have, but the story that you have just articulated, how incredibly similar it is to every story that I hear and that I am close to or have heard of. There's almost no story that I know of someone's success that is not coming from incredible faith in God, incredible, like we're in the trenches, but we have to make a decision stuff, try, fail, adjust, hard, cuss word work. And then you see the light. And I think it's so hard for me when I hear people that are like, well, yeah, if I could have done that, or, if I had, here's probably my favorite for you. If I had thought of the bow mount, I'd just be sitting on the beach right now. If I had thought of the bow mount. Okay, well, let's play devil's advocate here. You did thought of the bow mount. Did you go door to door to stores? Did you make it out of your mom's basement? Did you find a partner? Did you guys try, fail, and adjust? Did you quit your job with $8,000 in the bank account of that business? Did you trust Shields when they said they were going to do something? Like, that's the part that people don't want to talk about. That's the part where they're like, oh, yeah, for me, Nate, this one's random, but you see these PEX fittings, the plumbing fittings, PEX, the Easy Connect, it'll connect anything. In house flips, I always joked like, man, if I was the guy that invented PEX, I'd just be living in wherever I want right now. I don't think it would probably have been that way. I think it'd be very similar to the story of a guy named Nate and Devin and Painted Arrow and Mike Yoder and Drone Deer Recovery. And I can think of tons more that would say the exact same thing, that try, fail, adjust, forward. God is good. He will meet you where you're at as long as you, 2 words, take action. Josh Duncan, dude that I had on a while back, now a good friend of mine. Grit. That's all he said. Grit. You've got to have grit and execution, and you will be successful. And listen to your story of grit. And you executed. By the way, last thing, and I'll shut up and get back to you. Everybody wants to joke that you're living in your mom's basement. Well, look what cool stuff came out of mom's basement. So, case closed. For all those that you are living in your mom's basement, take that as some vision casting. You can do something cool from your mom's basement. Shout out to mom. Thank you, mom.
She still works for us today. She's retired from teaching and produces all of our products. She runs a crew of 8 people, 9 people, 10 people, multiple times a week. So it's all divine, man. I don't even know. I could continue to just give you more details, and I will. But I guess I want to just, like you're talking about faith, like it makes me emotional just thinking about all the things that have happened. Like it's truly incredible. And the thing that, I almost didn't realize this until years after all of these things happened. And like, I'm sitting there, I don't really remember a lot of my prayers, like some people do like a prayer journal and right. Like one thing that sticks out to me, I truly for 6 or 7 years, I asked God, like in every evening before I ate, like, God, give me purpose. Like, God, please, I'm willing to do whatever it is that you call me to do, but I don't think this is what I'm made for. I know you got me in this position for a reason, but I want purpose. And it took me a couple years after that, but I'm sitting now, like specifically in this time right now, this is kind of where we transition from doing a lot of online orders to a lot of like dealer orders because, the holidays kind of, everything ends right now and everything kind of shifts to like next year. So a lot of what I'm doing right now is like setting up our dealer pricing and things like that. And, early on we were really good. I was really good at getting into dealers. Like I told you, I was knocking on people's doors. We got into Shields. Most companies that are 2 years old don't get into Shields. You know what I'm saying? Like they don't know the talk. They don't know how to do it. They don't know. But in my day job, okay, this was the struggle that I had. I hated my job that I was working for corporate America. But what I did for that company was I dealt with a lot of dealers, structured the pricing. I did the merchandising. Like I knew how to talk to the buyers. I knew all these things. I honed in my craft, and it makes me almost want to cry right now thinking about it. Because
dude, let's go.
God used those years. That was an absolute agony. for lack of better words, like I just hated what I was doing. He used those, he formed me and helped us, right? He helped that knowledge that we had to go in. And I'm not saying that it was all entirely me, because Devin had a huge part in all the strategy, and he's behind the scenes doing things that most people don't even understand. But again, just, it was like a moment a couple years later, I'm like, that's why you had me there. Like, that's what I was doing. That's what you had me like learning. Like, all these things make me prepared for the moment that I am now, so that I can go into a meeting with Bass Pro, or, sit down with the owners of some big company. And like, I feel confident because I learned all these lessons in this job that I hated, but I knew that he had me there. And so, talking about praying, it's important to remember the things that you're asking God, because a lot of times you don't, like, he's checking boxes off and you don't know it a lot of times. So I had to say that, but that's all really divine in that transition of like, we're moving and got a new baby coming, and I quit my job, right? Like, and I got to just say to my wife is this, she never once, with this farmhouse that was absolutely just a junker. Like, she didn't see it when she walked in there for the first time, but she trusted me to renovate it and make it something nice. And we dated for a while, but like, when you're newly married, like, you're still trying to figure each other out. You really are. Like, you don't know each other's quirks as well as you do when you're married for 4 or 5 years. So like, she trusted me. She trusted me through this whole process. And like, a lot of people doubt, and some people use that as fuel. But I remember when we made this transition, like, a lot of people started questioning everything. Like, Nate, are you sure you want to do this? Are you sure you want to, like, does this make sense financially? People start like truly like questioning you. Like, is this something that you think is the right move? And I got to say, my wife has always stood by my side. My parents, they've always supported me. And, Devin's my dog, and he's been so supportive through the whole process. And, fast forwarding to now, like, I sold our farm because we were trying to be closer to family, closer to the business. And we sold that. We did really well when we sold it. I think we almost doubled our money, but it wasn't that hard because it was like pre-COVID, post-COVID. So like, the market just worked perfect for what I was doing. So it's not like I put a lot of sweat equity in it, but I think I got a little lucky with the timing as well. So we made out on that farm, bought another house that was quite a bit bigger, that offered a lot more for our family that we could grow into. And that was a very similar size parcel, but it was completely different. It wasn't open CRP. It was more timber and swamp. All of it was timber, really. And, fast forwarding to this story to get to where we are today, like, we ended up living there for 2 years, almost exactly. And we sold that place because the building that I'm sitting in right now, this is a commercial building that, we started outgrowing Devin's pole barn, and we started repping out new products. We got into more dealers. We have a sales team that we work with. We're expanding. So all of a sudden, like, a 40 by 50 pole barn doesn't cut it. And the township, you got semi trucks coming up and down Devin's driveway. Like, we're trying to, like, we need a place. So we start looking for commercial building, and Devin's story too really ties in with this. But he's buying and selling a couple different houses, and I'm on my second farm now, and all of a sudden, here we are. I'm driving an hour every day still, even at the second farm that I own. I'm driving an hour to this new building that I'm sitting in right now. And so it's like, okay, we got 2 kids now coming, and it's like the drive every day was painful with kids, dropping them off at grandma and grandpa's house to, they were watching our kids. And it was just like, we could both see, my wife and I had a tough conversation. We're like, man, are we going to move again? And we're looking at each other like, let's pray about it. And so we start praying about it. And all of a sudden, we're like, we'll put our property up for sale. And if it sells, it sells. And we put it up for a number that was like good for us. And sucker sold. And so we were like, frick, like, what are we going to do now? Like, what's what do we do now? Like, we spent the last 3 years, we've moved a bunch. We've moved on the boat. Like, we've done all this moving and selling and buying. And it's like, life is chaotic. So we buy the commercial building. We're renovating that. So we start renting right now. I'm currently renting in a house just in town, close to our shop. And We actually just bought a 40-acre piece, and we're starting to build a home, which is crazy that I'm general contracting that home with all my spare time. So,
all that extra boring time you have.
yeah,
And you have 2 kids now. I'm hearing you have 2 kids.
2 kids.
Boys, girls?
1 boy, 1 girl.
Okay. You got the classic picturesque American family. You guys think you're done? Let's just go ahead and cover it on the podcast here. You think you're done, or?
We're still young with the second one. Like our baby girl is 3 months old right now. So we're kind of still in that time period where it's like, we don't really know if we can picture ourselves having another one because we're still doing the early morning.
Haven't decided if we're keeping the second one. So yeah, bad time to ask. I got you. Yeah. That's what I tell people. You know, we have 3 daughters, and we decided to keep them all at various points, you know, along the journey. So I know what you mean. I definitely know what you mean.
Kids they're so cool, but there's a level of complexity, and we're currently renting in this like older farmhouse, and it's like, I mean, it's tough to see any more kids in the picture at the moment. But if we get into our house and it's like, you know, you settle, I'm sure you have a different mindset. But I mean, I went a lot of different places and I tried to tie it all together. But I guess the last, you know, bow that I need to tie is like, we recently became, in the last 4 or 5 months, land agents. And so a lot of people have been kind of asking, like, what's the strategy there, and what you know, how did that come about? Well, I've bought and sold 3 different farms now, and I did almost, you know, I had a lot of strategy in each of those transactions. I did have, you know, obviously agents that I worked with, but I've kind of found, like, Devin and I both have fallen in love with the art of the deal, and like trying to be creative and savvy to get things done. And very similar to your mission, Tyler, like, you know, you want everybody to, you know, the dirt, the legacy, like that root, if you will, that's the thing that we're trying to help everybody achieve in a way. And it's fun to do that. It's like same thing with hunting. Like, first step of hunting is shoot a deer. Then you want to shoot a bunch of deer. Then you want to shoot very selective deer. And then you want to help somebody else shoot a deer, right? So it's like we're kind of in that spot now, both of us, where we're trying to help others get to the thing that we have found so much value in. And so that's kind of what is cool about us becoming agents with Mossy Oak Properties, is that Mossy Oak Properties and Painted Arrow have a very similar mission. And Painted Arrow is a very seasonal selling season. Like, we sell products very well, but for a period of the year. And, you know, as we grow, there's a lot of things that we're doing to like offset the seasonality. But if you think about an archery, like we're one of one. We're making magnetic filming products for mobile hunters. So you think about our market is truly bow hunters at the core. So most people aren't buying things for their bow in April and May. It's just typically not the selling season. So like right about now, everything slows down at the end of the Christmas time frame, New Year starts, and we're just like hibernating until the next selling season. So this is an, you know, very intentional business that we're starting with the real estate to help people buy and sell farms. Like, we have the time, we have the know-how, we have the desire to do such a thing. So I'm not sitting here saying that we're, you know, I don't really know the future, but I think we're going to have some fun learning about, you know, what it is that we're going to become our niche. But specifically, Mossy Oak Properties is like a, you know, agricultural land tracts, like vacant land focused in a lot of ways, rural homes, lifestyle homes. That's kind of what we are specializing in. So that's what we know. And that helps us to get the seasonality of Painted Arrow and continue to just, you know, get things done.
I love it. I love it. I got a couple questions, just kind of thinking, just talk through with you. The first question I would have is, so my listeners don't necessarily know this yet, but, and it's not that big of a change for me, but before we started recording, I was telling you, I plan on getting my license this year, just kind of out of the practicality of how deep we've gotten into what we're doing. And, I think you said it earlier, like at the end of the day, what I really like is helping people create success in their own life. And I'm not too naive to know that if someone doesn't want to buy the farm that I have for sale, that we've made improvements to or whatever, like it doesn't mean that I couldn't still provide value to that person inside of another transaction. So question for you is, why did you pick Mossy Oak, and kind of what did the process look like when you said, hey, we're going to become agents, and we're in this discovery phase, if you will. What did that process look like?
Yeah, so basically, like when you become an agent, I mean, I'm speaking to the state of Michigan because that's it's different in every state, but basically you got to take the course. Like, unless you're a wizard, like you can't just take the test and pass it. You truly have to sit down and like study the regulations in the state and understand like a lot of different things that there's no other reason you'd know them unless you took this course. So basically you got to take this course, study for the exam, you go take the exam, you pass the exam, and now you have your license, but you have to, a broker is somebody that you're doing business under. So as an agent, you are acting on behalf of said broker. So like you're kind of like finding a broker that you gel with, that you understand each other. Like it's very much a give and take. Like you're working on behalf of them, so they want to make sure that you're not an idiot, right? Not going to get them into some legal issues, and there's kind of like a two-way interview. So we interviewed a lot of different brokerages, and like just trying to find somebody that really aligned with our brand, Painted Arrow, understood our mission, and understands that like this is obviously, the Painted Arrow is something that we're going to continue to do. So like, but I think Mossy Oak was like, everybody knows Mossy Oak. It's one of the longest standing camouflage companies ever, and you can see the bottomlands behind me. Like their marketing and our marketing kind of fit, and the fact that they do specialize specifically in those rural tracts, hunting properties, leases, et cetera, like that, it just lined up with our brands. And what we're finding is, it kind of like goes like this, like the real estate business kind of feeds Painted Arrow, and the Painted Arrow kind of feeds the real estate. So it's like, it's this happy medium. It definitely spreads us more thin because we're, selling land, you got to be places often. So like, you're driving a little bit more. So we're being selective with, who we're doing business with. But to get it off the ground, like we're trying to just focus in one area, and that's land, right? We want to focus on land, rural tracts, things that we really know well, rather than just going in town and, selling a house or something. Will we do that? Absolutely. Absolutely we will. But that's not like our bread and butter. So I don't know if I answered your question, but
no, you did. It sounds like you guys were really thorough, and you did it the right way to interview multiple brokers, because you're correct. It is a two-way relationship, and you got first sneeze on a podcast. You got to have a sneeze though. You'll ruin your day if you don't have that one. But when you interview, it is a two-way street. And when you interview them, they are interviewing you at the same time. But I think it's important, you said it well, that you are interviewing them as well. And you do have to gel, and you do have to work well together. And that's, I think, the right way to do it. Because I will agree with you, Mossy Oak has created a huge brand, especially inside the outdoor space. I think they are one of the staples of the outdoor recreational land selling market. And so you're going with a juggernaut out of the gate, which can only help elevate your game. And I love it. I love that. I think it's an awesome tool for you guys, both as partners in business, partners in real estate business, and friendship, all that. I hope you guys give yourselves enough credit, because what I'm envious of your story, as I've listened to you talk, and how much you think of Devin, and how well you speak of Devin, and just your guys' relationship. I've had some best friends in childhood and in middle school and in high school, and I've still probably got a few that I would say would be a best friend, but unfortunately, I haven't had that dream where you have that buddy that you go from building tree forts with, to working on trucks with, to thinking about business ideas with, to talking about being dads, with in business together. Like, I hope you guys give yourselves enough credit, because that story alone, outside of all the business success you've had, is definitely a God thing. That is very rare, very, very rare. Before we even started recording, we were talking about just the, partnerships are hard. What I've really been refreshed by with your conversation and I is you've talked very little about hardships that you and Devin might have had personally, and in partnerships, they always exist. They'll always exist, but you clearly work very well together. You clearly have great culture values, and you clearly give God the glory for what's going on, the success you guys have had. And that is, that's infectious. That's palpable. That is something anyone and everyone can resonate with. I want to kind of I want to kind of put a bow on this. I could talk with you for hours, man. Like I love this. I feel like it's just a tailgate conversation, and those are my favorite. But if you could tell me, when you think of, and my listeners know this is where I'm going, but when you yourself think of legacy through land, and you just think of what land can create and that type of legacy that land can create, what comes to mind? Is it a who? Is it an experience? Is it your own journey now? Like, what comes to mind for Nate when you think of legacy through land?
You know, I gotta talk about my grandpa Hicks. I mean, that's really, I mean, it's hard to. I'm getting a little emotional.
It's my grandpa too. So go.
He was this guy that was just really charismatic. You know what I mean? And he was just the guy. He was the guy. You know, like always said something funny, highly inappropriate at times.
So then, yes, I would love him. Okay.
He's just like this simple guy. I mean, he grew up in a dirt floor shack about 5 miles from where I'm sitting right now, and grew up very poor and didn't have 2 stones to rub together. I mean, truly. And, you know, my dad, I mean, that's 2 generations ago. You think about that. And the story of my grandfather owning this 30-acre farm, my dad was knee high to my grandpa. They went and knocked on the farmer's door. Hey, you know, I see you got a for sale sign on this farmhouse down here. You know, it had like they call it the well pump house. It was like this little shed looking thing.
Yep.
Some big old, you know, old style barns and an old farmhouse, like a 1-bedroom, 1-bath farmhouse. And my dad tells me the story, like we went up to, his name was Mr. Hall. They walked up to his house, knocked on his door, and they literally shook their hands together and agreed on like a $12,000 or some price for 30 acres. And that was my grandpa. That was my grandpa and how he did it. And like, I look at what I'm doing now, and, you know, he taught me how to hunt. He gutted my first deer. Like, he was just that guy for me. And my dad, he, you know, was right there along with all of it. But like, he was the person who really like inspired me in a big way. And that old farm, I wish I had money at the time. I would have never sold it. If I had money, I'd have bought it. But, you know, grandma and grandpa both died, and my dad and his brothers sold the property off to the farmer next door. And yeah, I mean, I have so many fond memories out there, being barefoot, running around and on a dirt road, and running through the cornfield, and just catching fireflies. And like, I think that's pretty infectious, you know, for a young guy. Like, you know, I grew up in a house with, you know, not talking bad about my house, but like the place that I grew up was on 1 acre, and it was surrounded by public land. And so I had a fair amount of places to go and run around there. But something about going to grandpa and grandma's, you know, it's just like, it's just a real special place, real fond of it. And so now that I'm a dad, like I wouldn't have been able to put words to it until probably, you know, sometime when I had my first son. But it's like you find yourself chasing the fondness that you had, and the things that you learned, and the different ways that you learned them. And it's like, it's so much value there that you want to give that same thing back to your kids. And it's not to say that you can't learn, you know, hard work, and you can't learn discipline and, you know, perseverance from other ways. But I truly believe the outdoors offers so much. I mean, it just offers, I mean, think about being a trapper, man. You have to be a mechanic. You have to be a skilled skinner. Like, you have to be able to know the different species and how, like, you have to be a full package person to be a good outdoorsman. And I just feel like there's so many things you can glean from chasing wildlife. And just, I mean, we even talk about like the food part of it and how to skin an animal. You know how many people don't know like what a hind quarter is, like how to get the meat off of it properly?
Yep.
Like, what a skill set that is. And how else can you learn that from out, you know, you just can't learn that any other way. So I think I talked a lot of different ways, but my grandpa,
it embodies it all.
It all comes back to like how I was raised, and what I'm really chasing now, I think, has a lot to do with the things that I was really fond of as a young kid. And I'm excited to teach my son some of these things. He's 2 right now. And, you know, it's just crazy. Life is absolutely crazy, man.
It really is. I always look back at the journey that God has had me on. And I mean, I tell people this all the time. Like, I don't deserve it. I mean, I really don't deserve it. We are not deserving of the things that we get. We are not deserving of the successes we have. We are not deserving of the families we have, but God. But God. Like, how many times could I tell you that when I talk with guests, they can say, just like you and I, that I way outkicked my coverage with my wife. Like, I literally worry if she'll just wake up one day and figure it out. Like, that she definitely is smarter than me. I way outwork myself because I don't really know any other gear, and I just trust God in the middle. Like that's it. And there's all these things that I think are so common with people's journey that is interlaced with but God. Trust God, take action. This has been really, really beneficial to hear, and for listeners to now, obviously, if you don't go out and buy a Painted Arrow product, quit listening to my podcast, period. Nate, I'm getting tens of views, so that's going to be a pretty big drop in sales for you if people stop buying your products from my podcast. But no, real talk. I mean, I love hearing the name and the face and the soul behind the brand, and it just means a lot more to hear that. I guess what I would ask you, we had some fun ChatGPT questions we were talking through before the recording, but I like this last one. In 10 years from now, what do you want a Painted Arrow product? What do you want the message to be behind it?
Oh, wow. Kind of what we've really done so far is we've really tried to help people recover animals. I mean, I think that if there's one theme that if you go on our website and you look through all the different products, like there's some of them that, maybe are outliers, but most of all of them are intended to help people get intel before going into a blood trail using something that you already own.
Yep.
And it's not intended to be, we're not trying to like rake people on, making these products. It's truly like we're trying to price point everything so it's like very, very, very convenient for you to actually achieve the goal of getting film and footage, because a lot of people think it's impossible and that you got to have a mirrorless camera and you got this big setup process and it's just too hard to edit. There's a software and you got to have a certain laptop. All of a sudden you're in at 20 grand. Like all you got to have is your phone. And that's our intent, is like, we want to help people like just see if it's something that is for them. And so I think recovery is like, it's always been like our backbone, like what we return to. So in 10 years, I hope we're doing the same thing, finding new creative ways to help people film their hunts.
Amen. And what I would insert as a user is, in 10 years, I like to think about being able to show my family the hunts from 10 years ago that were filmed from my phone that you made possible. And when I think of legacy and filming hunts and outdoors and all that, you're exactly right. When we get into filming hunts, sure, it's to share with your buddies. Sure, it's to throw on YouTube and get some views and share with your friends. But it's really to capture the moment. And the better you can bridge the gap, because you just said it, and I'm like literally the poster child of who you're painting. I have a mirrorless camera, really heavy camera arm setup, multiple secondary angles. It's a lot. And when I sell film, guess how many deer live, because I don't get it all. Like it's a lot. I got a Painted Arrow now. I had a day in Illinois where I forgot my big camera and I have all this crazy big gear and all this stuff. And I rigged your Painted Arrow stabilizer mount to my tree arm and put my phone on it, and like literally when I get back to camp, and of course I have the best encounter with a buck of all the years, like the whole season. Of course, I knew I would. And I get back to camp, and everybody's like, "What camera is this? Like, what are you doing? What are you showing us? Like, this is crazy." I'm like, "This is my phone. Like this, And they're all just like, "Why are we, guilty?" They're like, "Why are we doing all this other stuff?" Like, well. Pump the brakes. This is really good. This is really good though. But what will I be able to say, in 10 years, if I don't have that hunt on film? You guys have literally bridged the gap between the divide of having a full production and sharing something with your family that will matter.
It's special, man. It really is. Like I don't say this in a cocky way, but like I've filmed every single one of my hunts for the last 5 years.
Yep.
No problem. It's actually like, obviously I go to these trade shows and I'm real good with the products, but like it's easy for me.
Yep.
It's super easy. and it just takes a little practice. Like, I don't know how many guys can say that, but like, I haven't killed an animal, turkey, deer, whatever. Like, I film it all because it's like we have a product for that specific purpose, and like I have a huge album on my phone of all these different hunts. Like, it's cool. It's a really cool thing that I would have never filmed because it's just too cumbersome to all that gear and the setup and the noise and the ratchets and the editing. Like, I wouldn't have done it.
Yeah, and it's intimidating for sure. It is. It's intimidating, and my mirrorless setup, if it's out of focus, you might as well throw it in the truck, and that's a real challenge. I want that quality, I want that product, but I think if you watch me next year, I think I'm going to make some changes on that. I think I'd be a lot more deadly if I would just put on the phone and go hunt, because I've had the encounters. It's, hey, are you self-filming with the highest end setup, and have you gotten it all in frame, and you've got fixed camera lenses and all these things that are, have their limits, versus your phone that you can zoom in on and then zoom back out when you're ready for the shot and the whole nine. It's awesome. Hey, I got a suggestion for the product. This is kind of tongue in cheek.
Yeah.
If you could just make the magnet a little less magnetic, like sometimes I worry if I can't get my phone off my bow. Like, I don't know if, you ever got that feedback, but I'm pretty sure I can hold my bow with my phone on the magnet. It's that good, everybody. It is that good. Like, if you don't want your phone to magnetize to it, don't get it close because it will break your finger. It is so good. So, the part that I've learned, like, as I'm using this product and I'm kind of learning, like, everything has a nuance. You got to really work with it. On my iPhone, if I set it the wrong way, the bracket can turn the screen off, and I'm like,
yes,
I can't unmagnetize it fast enough. I'm like, wait, get off of there, turn it this way.
That's right.
Yeah, but it really is. And I love that it's that strong. I'm giving you a hard time. I love that it's that strong because, like, you can go into a hunt, even if it's a stalk or a spot and stalk or crawling through the brush, and like have confidence you're not going to miss your phone somewhere 100 yards back and not realize it. It's a good product. It's a really good product.
I appreciate that.
This has been awesome. I'd love to get Devin on. I really would. Last thing that I'll say, and this one's just the easiest question you can answer of all of today, is first, do you think people should continue to wait to buy land? Do you think it's a good time to buy land now? Do you think they should wait 5 more years? What do you think about people buying some land? Is that a good idea?
I mean, I've bought 3 properties in the last 8 years, and every single one of them I've paid more per acre. So, like, the best time, and you've heard this, I'm sure, but the best time is like when you can afford it, do it, because it's going to get more expensive.
Mr. Bill Winke coined it, I think, is the one I first heard of. The best time to buy land was 20 years ago, and the second best time is today.
That's it.
Yep. So, Nate, if people were to want to buy land, and this is weird, dude. Like, so you're from Michigan. I really like you, and that is just an odd statement for me. Really tough statement. So I think you're probably supposed to live in Ohio if you ever want to move. I'm not sure. You seem really too good to be living in Michigan, but we'll let that go. God is still good in Michigan, I think. I hope.
Yes.
He's good.
Amen.
So how do people get a hold of Nate if they want to buy land? You're not allowed to bug him about Painted Arrow. Just go to Shields, okay, everybody? Just go to Shields. How do they get a hold of you?
Yeah, if you search Mossy Oak Properties, Michigan Outdoors, Nate Hicks, like, I'll pop up. There's all my contact there. If you're looking, if you're wanting to sell a piece, like, if you're wanting to sell a piece, it's really never been a better time because the demand is there and the inventory is not. In our area, and I'm just speaking about what I know in our area, but like, you can sell land right now for a premium if it's marketed correctly and if it's done properly, and that's kind of what we like to do, is help people achieve those things. And I mean, we have buyers. I mean, there's no shortage of buyers right now, so I can guarantee you we could definitely get some eyeballs on it. But would love to talk. I love land. I love talking land. Even if you just want to chat about it, like, I like talking about land. So,
yep.
Like I said, we just bought a 40-acre piece, and yeah, I mean, I'm hoping that we're gonna kind of stay put for a little while. Like, moving around is kind of tough, but now that we have this building, I think it's clear that God wants us here, and we're gonna just kind of stay put. So, yeah, reach out to us. We'd love to talk with you.
Amen, dude. I think you've earned it. Pat yourselves on the back. You guys have earned it. You've been willing to move several times. That hasn't slowed down your business or family success. And God will bless, and he will tell you if you're going to have to move again. I mean, you'll feel that unsettled spirit, and if you don't feel it, then amen. You're there, I felt it. And that's what caused us to go to Ohio. It's what caused us to continue to grow and shake. It's what caused me to buy land to build a house on last year, because we feel that sense again. I mean, you cannot mistake the spirit. You can't put your finger on it. You can't label it. You can't explain it, but you can't mistake it. It's a yearning, and it is from God. So, man, this has been awesome. I'd love to have you back on. I'd love to talk shop together. Are you going to, by chance, be at the ATA public, the bow hunter convention?
Yeah, we've been going there for the last 3 or 4 years. So we'll have a big booth, and we'll be there selling product. It's going to be a whole thing. So definitely stop by. I don't know our booth number off the top of my head, but we'll be in there.
I'm in, man. I'll stop by. I'd love to chat with you in person, but this has been awesome. Listeners, you know it. You continue to hear it. If you stick with me, thank you. Like, subscribe, follow, share, comment. As I always say, share this episode with your mom. Actually, share it with Nate's mom, because she's on it. We gave her a cameo. Love you, Mom. Shout out to Mom. This is awesome. Thank you for being awesome, Mom. My mom's awesome too. She kind of loves hearing my business as well. So it's fun. But this has been an episode, and this is the end of the episode, sadly. We're going to have to bring Mr. Nate back on. Maybe we'll bring Devin on and you again, and we'll just talk some real business shop and have some more spiritual time together. But thank you. Thank you so much, dude, for being on here this week.
Yep. Thanks, everybody. And I'll just want to end by saying you can find purpose. I know there's a lot of people out there that are struggling to find purpose. And I'm telling you, if you pray about it, it will come. But you better be careful what you ask for, because it will come. But there's no saying how it will. So find that purpose.
You might be buying a 36-foot boat. So, hey, husbands, don't use that again. We didn't say that if that wasn't part of the real plan, okay? Thanks, man. We'll see you guys next week on Legacy Through Land. And this is going to come out, I believe, right before Christmas. So, Merry Christmas, everybody, if we don't hear from you or listen together. And Happy New Year if you're real lazy and you don't listen to us for 2 weeks. We'll see you in an entire year. Peace. And that's going to wrap up this week's episode. If you're finding value in this content, we'd love to hear from you. It'd mean a lot if you could share with us how this podcast is helping you on your journey, and let us know of any topics you'd like us to cover in the future. Be sure to connect with us on all social platforms at Legacy Acres Land Co. and subscribe to stay updated on when new episodes drop. We hope you've enjoyed this week's episode of the Legacy Through Land podcast, and we'll see you next week.